Oil prices rose today as OPEC and its allies discuss whether to deepen a supply cut pact ahead of meetings this week. Although prospects after Saudi Arabia's planned listing of Aramco's fueled uncertainty for traders, limiting gains. Brent futures rose 13 cents to $61.05 a barrel after gaining 0.7% on Monday. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude was up by 20 cents at $56.16 a barrel. The contract rose 1.4% on Monday, while the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries and its allies, a group known as OPEC, are discussing a plan to increase an existing supply cut of 1.2 billion barrels per day by a further 400,000 barrels per day and extend the pact until June. Well, let's see how the outcome of this upcoming meeting might affect the Nigerian economy. And joining me now to talk about this is Desola Sumoni, one of the research analysts with Financial Derivatives Company. Hello, Desola. Good afternoon.
Hi, Chimizi. Good afternoon.
So OPEC and, of course, its allies are scheduled to hold their meetings and, of course, that's the last for the year in Vienna on December 5 and 6. What are your expectations and the likely impact on the Nigerian economy?
Thank you for your question, Chimizi. Like you rightly said, there are two outcomes from this meeting. One is to maintain status quo, which is to keep production at to keep the output cut at 1.2 million barrels per day, and the second is to deepen the output cuts some more. Now, the consensus is that OPEC would maintain status quo and extend the production cuts till about June or December next year. However, there are talks that Saudi Arabia, because this meeting also coincides with their listing of the state-owned oil company Aramco on the local stock exchange, they want prices to be higher. So there are talks that Saudi Arabia would argue for deeper cuts. However, they are likely to meet resistance from Russia. Now, on the impact on Nigeria, well, I think that extending the production cuts is positive for Nigeria in the sense that it will keep prices relatively elevated, which is positive for the external reserves, which has been declining, and it's currently about $39 billion. It's positive for the external reserves. It will continue to give the central bank space or headroom to continue to inject FX into the foreign exchange market. So it's positive for the foreign exchange. It's also positive for the government the government revenue. So overall, I think it's positive for Nigeria for the production deal to be extended.
Now, Nigeria is facing challenges of quota bursting, oil theft and vandalism at the wellheads. How is the country going to cope if the production quota is strictly enforced?
Well, one good thing about OPEC is that, or one bad thing about OPEC is that there's no formal enforcement mechanism. So OPEC cannot force any member to comply with the production cuts, and that is why it has almost become a norm for members to pursue their own self-interest when there's a collective goal. Currently, Nigeria, Iraq, and Russia are producing above their OPEC production quota. As of October, Nigeria was producing about 41,000 barrels above its quota. But as of Sunday, the Minister of State for Petroleum said that Nigeria is now fully compliant with the OPEC production deal. So overall, I think that the complying with the overall with OPEC deal for Nigeria, I think is going to be positive in the sense that the higher prices coming from compliance will offset the loss of revenue from reducing our output. So overall, I think the effects will be limited on Nigeria. It's not as bad as we might think.
Now, recently, Total, Chevron, Petrobras are all divesting from some of their oil assets in Nigeria. Now, this is happening at a time when Nigeria just signed the offshore agreement. Does this mean the IOCs are unhappy with the new act?
Well, I think that's an obvious question, Chimezi. I think it's obvious that the IOCs are not happy with the new act as requiring them to pay the government some more money because of these production sharing contracts, and they are showing their unhappiness by divesting and moving to the US, to the shale production in the US. So I think that they're unhappy, and the environment in Nigeria, the policy environment with new policies springing up every day, is making them jittery and uncertain about the future, and that is why we are seeing these sort of divestments.
So what can be done to assuage their concerns?
That's an interesting question, Chimeze. I think that I think it's the Minister of State of Petroleum has come to tell the IOCs that, you know what, I know that we know that this policy came suddenly and it's having a negative effect on your bottom line, but there's room for negotiation. So I think what will happen is that they should negotiate to come to an agreement on, on how to meet in the middle. Essentially, they should negotiate and meet in the middle so that they don't all move out of Nigeria and then yeah, I think.
All right, thank you, Desola, for your time. Let's look forward for a positive meeting by the OPEC Plus this time around. Thank you and enjoy the
Thank
rest
you.
of the day.